for us, please?
Certainly. Tammy Ray,
Everybody's gobbled.
oh, can you hear me okay?
That's better.
Okay. Tammy Ray, Jeanette Carver,
Here.
sorry. Margaret Wilson,
Present.
James Martin,
Present.
Megan Buwalda, and she's absent. Amina Shakir,
He's trying to log in with audio.
okay. Candace Howell,
Here.
Vanessa Collins Smith,
Here,
Christopher Ratchkey,
Here.
Antonio Mitchell.
Here.
Thank you.
We'll move into the approval of the agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to look over the agenda?
yes, what I would like to request is to have the 2021 Notice of Funding Availability and Pre-Submission Meeting moved to the top under Old Business as the first item, please.
Okay. There any other additions, changes? Is there a motion to approve with the correction or change?
Candace motion.
Margaret seconds. Margaret Wilson seconds.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. So now we will look to approve our September and October minutes. Has everyone looked over those? Those were sent out in the meeting packet.
Are we taking one minute at a time, or are we going to vote on both of them at once?
Vanessa, can we do them both at once, or do we need to do individually?
I think you need to do them individually.
Okay, so we'll look at September 1st. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, motion carries. We'll look at the October minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposition? Okay, the motion carries. So now we are at citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Jamie, are there any citizen comments?
Thank you. I do not see any comments.
Thank you. So now we'll move into the 2021 Notice of Funding Availability and Pre-Submission Meeting under old business. Chris, I believe you are.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick overview. We had the 2021 pre-submission meeting on November 5th. We had two meetings at 10 a.m. in the morning and 5:30. And due to COVID restrictions, we just held it virtually. In the morning session, we had a total of 16 applicants, ranging from actually individuals to developers to public service agencies and the local community development organizations. This year, the funding amounts available are under CDBG, $350,000. Under home, we have the same amount, $350,000. And, during the presentation, we gave an overview of the city's goals and priorities in the 2019 to 2023 HUD Consolidated Plan. And then beyond that, we gave an overview of the 2021 HUD Action Plan, which carries out the goals and priorities on a yearly basis. And for this year, the priorities were under CDBG, minor and critical home repair, down payment assistance, and youth development. And under home, we have new construction, rental, home ownership, rental rehab, and lease purchase. And we had the second meeting at 5:30, and there was just 2 individuals on that one. And lastly, I want to make a note that since the application wasn't available exactly when we said it was going to be available, we're going to extend the deadline to Monday, December 7th at 4 o'clock, just to give them an extra 2 days and the weekend to work on it. And that's about it.
Thank you, Chris. So now we'll move to the 2021 Application Committee report. Candace, do you have a report?
Well, not technically, I just want to make a comment that's written here, and that is to thank everybody for a job well done during our development of 2020 affordable housing application. Tammy, thank you very much as chair of the committee, and Jim, thank you so much as well. We went through the process and ensured that recommendations mirrored the voices of city residents that resulted from our 2019 to 23 consolidated plan. So I just want to also thank you for recommendations related to COVID-19, even though today we're going to discuss that. Our great work, has been both tangible and beneficial. Thank everybody, especially people that made recommendations as interested parties to get additional applicants in our pool. That's what I was looking for. Vanessa? She's going to discuss this urgent need related to COVID-19. I think it's really important that we hear what she has to say.
Yes, well, I'm gonna let Tammy take us on to the next one.
Thank you, Candace. So now at this time, we'll hear a presentation from Lockhart Management to talk about some COVID-19 solutions.
Okay, Lisa?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, Lisa.
Hi. So thank you for having me. I appreciate being added to the agenda. And I wanted to talk to you about a problem that addresses a specific need that we have had in the city of Kalamazoo and all across the country for a number of years. And that is the inability to have enough housing for persons who are experiencing homelessness. The Lift Foundation, one of my clients, has spent an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out ways to solve this problem, and quick ways using structures that are already available. And they went through a number of iterations. Could it be a trailer park? Could it be a nursing home? And finally settled on motels in the area, because we have several motels and we have ways to convert them quickly into permanent affordable housing. So right now, I know that maybe some of this has fallen off the radar for folks, but there are approximately 130 individuals currently residing at known encampment sites. This count was done in August by the Integrated Services PATH outreach team. And so this is still a need. So some of these folks that are living in encampments are not going to be able to transition from an encampment to a shelter, because shelters are under strict guidelines now to limit capacity. So we're approaching the winter, we're here, although it's 60 degrees today, and we need to be able to find a way to get people housed quickly. So there's kind of two parts to this. I mean, there's a long-term plan, and the plan is to renovate the Knights Inn that's on South Westnedge into permanent affordable housing. These units would be renovated to include kitchenettes, they would be studio apartments, and they would have their own individual living area, right, with their own bathroom. And then a more extensive renovation would be done just besides converting the unit itself. So we need to have new windows, energy efficient mechanicals installed, new exteriors. And so just really freshening up the place, but also making it energy efficient and making it new floor coverings, making it nice and new for folks that will be moving in. but it takes a little time to get to that. So immediately we want to effect the purchase really next month. So we are working on that, and it costs $1.5 million. We have an option agreement for the motel right now that's in place, and it does have a renewal, but we want to do this as quickly as possible so that then we can take a couple weeks, get things in place, and start renting to people the motel rooms while we do the work to effect the conversion, right? So you can't just go ahead and start converting. You have to get city site plan approval. You need to have the drawings prepared. You need to get bids from contractors so you're getting the best price for the work that's being done. So we'll take 4 months to get that work done, but that 4 months can house 60 individuals from January to April so that they're not out in the weather. And then we would start the work with, you know, an estimated timeline of finishing the work in September and renting to people permanently on permanent leases in October. We've received funding from LISC to do the pre-development work on this, but we're asking for funding from the CDBG CV funds in order to go towards the purchase of the motel so we can begin that work. Are there any questions or anything I might not have covered?
From whom are you purchasing the property?
From whom? The current owners. It's an LLC that owns it right now. I'm not sure I know how to pronounce it. It's like BAHVEC LLC. I guess
Oh, go ahead.
the only other thing I was going to say is that, you know, part of why you're reusing an existing building is it's cost effective. You know, I work on new builds and they are so expensive. You're at $250,000 a unit. We're talking about $70,000 a unit for purchase and renovation. This is about a third of the cost of what it would cost to build new, and it's way quicker, especially more quick than going through, you know, a low-income housing tax credit application funding round.
So will the people from the encampment, will they have to pay rent from January through April, or are they staying there until you move into a place where you're going to renovate and then rent these out permanently?
So because it's a motel and it needs to kind of stay in motel status, they would be charged based on what they could pay. It probably wouldn't exceed $10 a night. And then folks who didn't have any income would sign a certification saying, you know, they don't have any income. And we would just go from there, because we have sought funding from another a local funding source here to run for that 4 months of operations. So it would cover that. We're not depending on those rents, but because it's a motel, you're supposed to charge something.
Okay. And will Lockhart oversee this process?
Yes, correct.
Would you still have people staying there during the renovation process next spring or summer? Or?
No, we probably would not. It would be a little bit disruptive. And in order to get the best price, you want to be able to do everything at once and just, you know, kind of, you know, factory style, right? Carpet, 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 windows, windows, windows. When I've done this before, we still have to move people out. So, but of course we would have a waiting list from the current occupants.
Will there be a plan for the occupants in those months during renovation? Like, where are they going to go? Is there a plan to transition them somewhere else in the process?
We would be working on a plan for that with ISK. At that point in time, we also don't know what the shelter situation will be like. It may be available when, as we see, it does seem that this virus is somewhat weather dependent, although folks said it wasn't going to be. So it could be much more likely that shelter situations could be available. But the PATH team works on finding people housing. So we would have them as a resource in this transition.
Quick question. Can you explain what ISK is for people
Oh.
that may not know what that is?
Sorry, it's Integrated Services of Kalamazoo. It was formerly known as Kalamazoo Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, but on October 1st, 2019, they changed their name. So they're basically the community mental health agency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lisa, so are there 60 units total? Is that what you said?
Yes, there are 60 units total there right now. 5 of them, I think at one point were converted into a manager unit. So those would have to be converted back to single units.
Are there other long-term tenants in any of those units currently?
I am not aware of that because it is a motel. It's supposed to be transient housing.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But if there were, obviously with this plan, they would be able to stay.
So the placement of folks that are currently homeless would be not quite sure at this point, right? Depends on the number of people that are in the hotel that need to stay.
Yeah, I mean, it does not tend to be, it tends to be in motels around town that folks are getting their disability check and then they get a motel, but they're only able to afford it for a couple of weeks. And so then they move out and then the cycle kind of starts all over, unless they can maybe get a couple people and share the expense to be able to cover the whole month. But it's kind of more of a cyclical thing, unfortunately.
Are there restrictions on the number of people per unit?
As a motel, not that
Yeah.
not that I'm aware of. I mean, I assume it's like probably 4 people. I mean, I know with my family, I can rent 1 motel room for 4 people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Lisa, is the final plan to have it be 100% affordable housing, or is it to be mixed income? And if it's mixed, what's the breakdown?
So, so because this isn't a low-income housing tax credit project, there's not going to be what you're used to hearing, 30%, 40%, 50% of AMI. So the hope is that there's some subsidy that was opted out of. There was an owner who decided they didn't want their Section 8 contract anymore. I put in an application for those funds, which is still out in limbo with HUD. So my hope is to move that to the property, and that would give me about 35 units of project-based Section 8. Integrated Services of Kalamazoo also has their own subsidies, and they will probably put about 6 households there with their subsidy. But we kind of want to leave some open because there are a lot of people in this county that cannot use their voucher. So they have it's called a homeless preference voucher. So you'll like this acronym. It's an HPV voucher is actually what they refer it to. I know, that's why I can never remember what it stands for. So these homeless preference vouchers, you have people out here with the voucher that they cannot find housing to use it. So we want to be able to leave some open for those folks. But as far as a market rate apartment, it's probably not. It would not be restricted. If somebody wanted to rent it, they could. It's really not the purpose. It's really going to be directed towards persons who are of a low income, have their own voucher that they need to use. I mean, we have, the Public Housing Commission has a veterans transitional home, right? And one of these veterans got a VASH voucher and he cannot use it anywhere. There's nothing available for him to make use of that voucher. So he needs housing, he has money, anybody can't find housing. So we want to leave that open.
Lisa,
Yes, Candace.
I just need to be clear about something. If a percentage of those units are going to be project-based Section 8, a percentage of them are integrated services, a percentage of them are existing tenants that are in there, whether transient or not. So you've already got your base of tenancy before the units are even developed, pretty much.
Oh, well, the project-based Section 8 doesn't have any residents attached to it. It's attached to the building. So it's just, yeah. So we would be filling the
35 units is project-based, or that's what you're attempting?
Yes, that's what we're attempting.
35. Okay, so that means that you can put whoever you wanted in there that qualified for a project-based Section 8 certificate or voucher.
Yeah, and it's a contract with HUD directly. It doesn't leave the building when the person moves, and basically they have to have a low income. They have to be under the 50% AMI income limit.
Would a no income person be eligible for a project-based Section 8?
Absolutely.
Funds?
They would
No
be,
income at all. Okay.
it would be a perfect person to use the project-based Section 8. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 35. That's about 36 units plus what's already there. So you pretty much got a majority of the units covered with the certificates, the project certificates and integrated services referrals.
Trying to, but again, still leaving some open, you know.
Okay. I'm just wondering about the people that are in those encampments when winter hits. If your units are already pretty much designated with 35 project-based certificate, whatever you call them, what about people that are in encampments that are not associated with integrated services or that not already there in the units?
Right.
What about I just walked off an encampment and I want a unit in there?
You're perfect. So you can do that. So let me just kind of clarify. So the subsidy would not be in effect for quite a while, right? It would come into effect once the units are renovated. But even so, there's no people attached to them. So the way it works now, project-based Section 8 property, Candace walks in, she says, I want a unit. She fills out an application. If there's an opening, we qualify her for that. And so what we're checking for are the level of income, right? Do you have too much income? You can always have zero income. That's totally fine. But none of these units are committed right now. Again, I don't believe that they are filled by all 60 of them with permanent residents right now. I mean, it doesn't seem from our conversations with the owner that is what's taking place.
Okay, did you say that you were considering the people that were already there to come under the project-based process? If they're already there?
We haven't even really discussed it yet. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
So I don't know. They possibly could be eligible. I mean, I'm not certain.
Yeah, I just, I just would not like to see people become homeless because we're creating something to affect homelessness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Lyft has done things like this before. So its last development was Heather Gardens, which you might have known as part of New Horizon Village. And that property always had market rate units, subsidized units. And so Lyft doesn't typically do market rate units, but the things, there were already people there making too much money to qualify for the low income housing tax credit units. So we're able to keep all those folks that already live there by including market rate units. And Mistra allows you to do that. And that's a totally different scenario, but
okay,
doing it if it's not going to displace people,
right?
Not to make money, if that makes sense, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. After the winter is over, do they go back to the camp?
Well, we would have people working with them, so hopefully they wouldn't be going back to the camp. hopefully we would be able to transition them to a shelter or permanent housing elsewhere, helping them get on waiting lists. I mean, something that my staff can do is just help people get on waiting lists for affordable housing. You know, sometimes they're long waiting lists, but sometimes they're not. I mean, I have a senior property and people who have applied this year are getting in this year, like a couple months later. So helping people to find that, but they are going to have to vacate in order to be able to renovate the building properly.
In April, they'll have to vacate, have to
Right.
go someplace else.
Right. But again, we want to help them with that. So they're not just going back out to an encampment or living in their car or at a friend's house or couch surfing.
Now, are there other camps other than the one that's on by the viaduct? Are there other camps?
Yes, they are throughout Kalamazoo County. They're in various places.
That one by the viaduct is near me, and I'm taking food up there at this time.
Yeah.
The lunches that we get in for the school kids, my kids are not really eating it, so I take the milk and everything up there to them.
That's a good idea. I should do that.
Yeah, because the kids, it will go to waste otherwise, and there are children up there too. So
right,
every
Yeah.
Tuesday and Thursday, I make a trip over there, and leave it in the parking lot or the field or whatever it is. But they seem to be
Good idea.
really appreciative.
My kids never eat the lunches either, but we can still pick them up, and I just never
Right.
do.
But I'm wondering what's going to happen between now and January. It's going to be cold.
Right, it is, and the faster. I mean, we would purchase it tomorrow if we had the funding, and we'd be able to move people in a couple of weeks. But it's unlikely that we will raise the entire 1.5 million in order to close in that short amount of time.
Okay.
More questions? Any more questions?
Vanessa, maybe you can answer this for me. So the money that we would be reallocating towards homelessness and COVID, that would come close to getting you to what you need to purchase the property? Lisa?
It would get us a third of the way there.
Oh, a third of the way there.
Third of the way there, and we have other conversations with other funders, and I mean, we need someone to be first in, because some of the other funders are like, well, until someone's first in, we're not doing it. But this is a direct response to the COVID crisis. I mean, we can't have folks at a high level in mission, right? I mean, before they would even let people sleep in the foyer, it was not a problem. It's a problem now. Nobody can be that close in order to be able to stay safe. So
So you're pretty sure you're going to get the other 2/3 that you required. So we're sort of like giving you your incentive funding for other people to come in and pick up the rest of it. You're pretty sure that's going to happen?
I'm hopeful that it will happen. I'm pretty sure, but you know, I can't guarantee anything, because unfortunately, as I tell my husband, I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know all the way. But you know, I don't know what the status is of this funding and if there are contingencies that can be placed on it. But you know, I've had other funders put contingencies on funding before, and that may be something you may want to consider.
Vanessa?
Okay, any more questions? Okay, so what I would like to do at this time, thank you, Lisa.
Yes, you're welcome.
For that information. This, of course, this project falls under HUD's national objective, urgent need. And it is very important that we attempt and provide shelter for our homeless population during the winter and start as soon as possible. I don't think there is so much that money has already been put in the pot. So ours is just another piece that would go into that we are meeting this urgent need. So in addition to that, I want to take this opportunity to thank the application committee for an outstanding job. CDAC Chair Tammy, committee chair Candace Howard, and committee member Jim Martin, and of course community investment compliance specialist Chris. Actually, the way that you handled your tasks really showed experience and knowledge and critical thinking. You've been there. I pick up the phone at the last minute and say, hey, I need this. And you just jump right in and just put your hold and just gone forward. So I really, really appreciate you. At this time, Tammy, back to you, please.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you. So it looks like we're moving into new business. And we are going to discuss the formation of our nominating committee. The purpose of the nominating committee, or the responsibilities, are as follows: to make recommendations for appointment to CDAC. We currently have 2 applicants, so we need our committee back up and running. Also, with the assistance from city staff, to begin outreach for new appointments in November of each year. You review applications prior to the regular scheduled February meeting, and then in the event that all committee members cannot meet the interview potential candidates, the chair or vice chair may vote in the absence. So we need 3 volunteers to serve on this committee. If anyone is interested, say aye, and I will put your name down.
I will do it. That was Margaret.
I'll work with it also.
Tammy, did you say you needed 2 or 3?
3.
Is there a 3rd person that's interested?
I'll do it.
Jeanette, Margaret, and Candace. Oh, sorry.
Jim Martin.
Okay, so we had Jeanette on there.
Yep.
Okay.
So Jeanette, Margaret, and Jim.
Yep.
And I just wanted to ask if all of you could reach out to people that you think might be a good fit, because we currently have 7 of our 13 seats filled. And I think this is a really pressing and important issue for the longevity of our committee, because if we lost one single member at this point, we're in kind of a precarious spot that we would no longer be able to do our duties, because every subcommittee would have quorum and we wouldn't be able to do any of our work. So I think it's really important that we fill some of the seats.
Thank you, Margaret.
Any
other
we
comments?
have
I'm
2
sorry?
applicants. We have 2 applicants.
We do.
Submitting. Okay.
Any other questions or comments on this? No, if not, we will move into communications and reports from the staff.
I do not have any report, but what I would like to say is that y'all are awesome. I can ask for a better team to work with during this process. And I just wanted to reiterate that and say thank you. Thank you, thank you. Antonio? Antonio? No, I guess he's
I'm here. I'm just had the screen off and everything. Sorry about that. Repeat what you said, because I was on the cell phone talking to IT. So
we're in the just staff reports, and just wanted to know before we close out, did you have anything to say?
No, I just want to thank the CDAC board for your assistance, and your feedback is very important to not only us as staff, but also the community, because they need to know that you guys are involved with discussions on the actions that we're taking and assist us with making decisions that are beneficial to the community. So thank you. And hopefully next month I'll introduce 2 new staff members. You met Jamie Marsman, our new secretary, who's been doing a great job. And we have 2 more new staff people that are in the department that I think be important for this board and committee to know about and hopefully work with in the future. So thank you again for your services. It is really appreciated that you guys take this time to really assist us in making the decisions we are making to help this community. So thank you.
Chris, you got any updates?
No.
Okay, awesome. So we'll move to citizens' comments again. Jamie, do we have any citizen comments?
IT confirms there are no comments at this time.
Awesome. Thank you. So now it's my favorite time of the meeting. No, just joking.
No, you're not.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, you're not.
Amina, you know I'm joking. So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Go on, you make it, Tammy.
No.
I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll
Bye.
second.
Good night, all.
Night. Chris, can I ask you a question? After we adjourn, you can go ahead. I just wanted to know, did we get any applicants that were interested in technical assistance? Did you get?
No, actually, we didn't. Somebody inquired, but they never turned anything in, so.
Okay. They did not take advantage of that wonderful, tool that was there.
Yeah, I was waiting, but nothing.
Wow. I would like to talk about this more at a future date.
Jeanette, I have a question. I'm not sure if we're still streaming live though.
Yeah, we are.
Oh.
Yes, we are. Just let y'all know. Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay. Have a good night.
Night, night.
See everybody later.
Bye.
Right.
Good night.
Right.